We got to take responsibility, and we have to pay the price of results. Everybody pays, and results have a price, and regret have a price. Count up the costs and pay the price. And hear me well, nobody's gonna pay it for you. So acknowledge the risk, make the investment, reap the rewards.
I'm just binary, black and white. Switch on or switch off, hustle mode on. I mean, the amount of people that are half pregnant, kind of into it, sorta, shoulda, coulda, little, kinda. You have their whole life in front of you, and why not try to achieve greatness ASAP? Like, go for it. Like, just go for it blindly. Experience is a gift and a real leverage, but naivete and blind faith and not knowing the rules is also a real advantage. And so if I was 20, I would just get real serious on my naivete and go all in blindly, run through the wall.
And there is a literature too that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back in their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
You think that everybody's paying attention, and because of that, it kind of controls how you think. And even when I was young and fearless and nothing to lose, I was still so cognizant of like, how are people going to react to this, and what's the best way to do, like, I was so aware. And the reality is nobody gives a shit. Everybody is so focused on themselves in this world. Nobody has time for you. And the sooner you accept that as a creative person, the sooner you're free. Like, you're totally free. Like, do exactly what feels right to you.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. So I had to be here. I had to come. Even though I was afraid I might make a fool of myself. In fact, if you really want to know the truth, I had to come exactly because I might make a fool of myself.
There's redemptive mistakes. And a redemptive mistake would be a mistake that you make when you go out and try to do something. You know, you think, okay, I'm going to try to do this. And you're not good at it. You make a bunch of mistakes. It's like, what's the consequence if you pay attention? You're not quite so stupid anymore. That's the thing, is you've been informed by the results of your error. And as you take stumbling steps towards it, you become illuminated and enlightened and informed because of the nature of your experience, because you're pushing yourself beyond where you are and you're going into the country that you have not yet been in.
The decision to leave Baltimore, which is where I was from, to quit that path, to decide to start a business of my own, was still to this day the hardest thing I've ever done. By far, all the things we've been through to build what we have, the hardest decision was taking the leap for me.
The reason people are scared of the world is they actually think getting fired or having their startup fail or them not being able to be an influencer because nobody gave a fuck is a bad thing, when I think it's a great thing. The reason you won't do something is you are too insecure to do it.
There's more at stake today than in any story ever told. And how lucky you are that you're here and you're you. And how lucky we are that you're here and you're you. I hope you'll turn toward the problem of your choosing. I hope you'll drop everything, and I hope you'll solve it. This is your life. This is your moment, and it is all down to you. Ready, player one? Your game begins now.
You know, you got to take ownership of what's going on in your life. When you're not where you want to be and you say it's because the boss doesn't like you, or it's because the girl treated you this way, or the guy did this, like all those things, you got to take ownership of them. And if you're blaming all of these other external things, you're not going to make any changes. And that's going to be a problem.
And that's the problem too. If you're chronically rejected by people, it's often because of your own insufficiencies. You know, whether that's cowardice or lack of social skills or whatever it is, it's like, you can't just brush it off as, oh, well, you know, no one likes me, but really I'm okay. It's like, no, wrong. If everyone rejects you, there's probably something wrong, and it's probably deep and difficult, and it's going to be horrible to fix. And so this isn't a trivial problem. It's not a trivial problem. at all.
Todd, I'm sorry. All right, I screwed up. I know I screwed up. I don't know why.
Oh, great. Of course. Here it comes. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing shitty things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay. You need to be better.
But yet you're fully committed to sabotaging yourself and your career. Then you're sitting back stressed out and depressed, wondering why. Why ain't things happening? That's the answer. I just gave it to you. It's about as real as it gets. The question is, what are you going to do next week, 2 weeks from now? You're in your own way. You are the reason your career is not on the next level. Nobody else but you.
When you don't have a true appreciation and acceptance for who you are, and you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, what happens in the process is that you begin to abuse yourself. You begin to sabotage your life, you begin to sabotage your dreams, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself. You become your own worst enemy. So what do you do about that? Well, you begin to realize that your dream and your gifts have so much meaning and so much value for you till your hunger for them will begin to push you past the fear. Your hunger to have them will give you a special drive.
You might be sitting there wondering if you're gonna wake up tomorrow and do the thing you said you would. But why on earth would you wonder? This thing you're so uncertain about is literally you. There's nothing in this world you have more control over than yourself. But if you decide to wake up every day, surrender that control to chance, I guess you'll be stuck wondering forever. This disconnect between you and you is unnecessary though. The pattern of hoping you fulfill the role of a better you and disobeying that desire every time is completely in your hands. There's a recipe for no self-respect. So there's some certainty within yourself that needs to be built. That's not gonna happen by accident.
If you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, what do you have to do to be successful? I promise you, your heart will tell you.
You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point, you let you down. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work. I let me down. You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You just said you're giving 50%. You owe you an explanation. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on punishment. You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, we working out now. No more alcohol, not right now. I can't handle it right now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.
This is you versus you.
Most of us, we live in a box. And we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. What we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind. And this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. And we take away the possibilities of you could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be Navy SEAL. Wow. So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book. There'd be no book. There'd be nothing. So what people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself.
If you're struggling, if you're frustrated with yourself, if you're at that point where you're so sick of yourself and your excuses, I've been there, Stephen's been there. This is a normal part of the human experience. And at some point, either the pain is going to get big enough, or you're going to bump into somebody's story somewhere on this planet who has been in the position that you're in right now, facing the stuff that you're facing right now, and there is something about their story at this exact moment in time that will ignite something in you that is missing, and what is missing in you right now is hope.
If you set your own value of what you believe about yourself, if you think that you're worthless, if you're not very good at it, other people pick that up.
It doesn't matter what lifestyle you have. It doesn't matter what walk of life you have. No matter what you do, if you allow excuses to tell you what to do, then ultimately the excuses have more control of you than what you have of yourself. So get up, work hard, put some effort into what you want out of life, because all you have is you. All you have is what you have inside. Don't wait for somebody to tell you what to do. You know what you need to do. Get out there and get it done, because that's ultimately what it's going to take. You have to have the courage, the will, and everything you have inside to get to the level and beyond the level you want to be. Life does not stop until they put you in the ground, my friend.
Strong mind is a catalyst for change. When you see the best athletes in the world either perform really well or, on the other hand, completely bomb out, it's because of that muscle that lives between the ears.
It's interesting to me that the comfortable route is seen as the safest path, but the undeniable disappointment that comes from giving up the ideals of the true self doesn't seem so safe to me. Don't indulge in the comfort that comes before effort, because that comfort is nothing but a lie.
So what kinds of things, what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you're staying where you are?
What really breaks my heart is how stuck people are, and that there are things you can do to change your life for the better. And if you don't have hope, and you don't have this breakthrough where you have, for just a millisecond, this insight where you go, well, what if things did work out? If you don't have that moment, most people stay so stuck in resignation.
So it's time to come face to face with pain. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how much more can you take? Because what hurt you, what tried to cripple you and kill you only made you stronger. You have the capacity to whatever comes up, to handle it, to face it. And rather than feeling powerless, you begin to feel powerful. My content creators, my entrepreneurs, my musicians, come on, my keynote speakers, my captains of industries, my CEOs, from the captain to the cashier, there is more in you. Stay-at-home father, stay-at-home mother, lawyer, doctor, hygienist, author. I don't know who you are, where you're from, but there's more in you. You may be hurting, maybe dying on the inside, but you still got life left.
To all of you watching here, come close to the screen and listen. People don't have to like you. People don't have to love you. They don't even have to respect you. But when you look in the mirror, you better love what you see. You better love what you see.
Be uncomfortable. Get yourself in a situation where you feel a little bit about a challenge. You're feeling something about being challenged. You're understanding that challenges are good for you. Challenges are going to make you better, going to make you stronger, going to push you through any adversity that you may face in life.
But nobody's coming to save you. There's no knight in shining armor, and the people that say they will, they don't really stick around for long. The reality is this whole life thing was never really meant to be about anyone else. You're kind of supposed to be the hero of this story. Even if you feel weak right now, even if you feel alone, you feel down, you feel like you can't do it, you can. And you will. All you have to do is show up. So, show up today.
You have the power to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Don't underestimate yourself. You don't know enough about yourself to become a cynic. And so you've got to challenge yourself to access that power that you have within you. You're more than a conqueror.
I'm amazing when you don't think I'm amazing. I love me even if you stop loving me. You can say the nastiest, meanest, evilest shit that you could ever conjure up. It will never change the way I feel about myself.
It takes faith to jump off of the edge. It takes faith to step into your purpose. It takes faith to step into your destiny. It takes faith to pull away from everything that is familiar, to step into uncharted territory, to become the person you were born to be. It takes faith.
This is my time. This is my time. I'm bright enough. I'm old enough. I'm young enough. I've experienced enough. I'm wise enough. I understand that I am enough.
Self-discipline is self-love. If you want to be happy, you have to love yourself.
I love me independent of anything that anybody could ever say. Has nothing to do with being arrogant or egotistical. It's just a matter of knowing and being aware of self-worth. I love you. If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, self-love is the cure to self-hate. Self-love is the cure to self-hate.
You matter, alright? There's always gonna be somebody that cares about you. And you're a good person, no matter what people say, you matter.
I love me. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less.
You know, as crazy as it sounds, one decision can completely change your life. So what are you waiting for?
I wouldn't change what happened to me. And that's the God's honest truth. If any one of you had a superhero ability where you could send me back in time and give me a do-over, I wouldn't accept it. I would gladly relive everything I have been through, provided I had this outcome. Because who I am now and what I offer the world, I wouldn't want to give that up. And to avoid going through those dark days or the pain I went through. I think it was all worth it to turn me into who I am now.
I think we look down now to 16-year-olds and say, where are you going to go to college? What are you going to do for the rest of your life? And it's like, they're not fully baked yet. How do they know? Give them a break. Just say, look, I think after high school, take a year off, take 2 years off, join the Peace Corps, travel, go figure things out, or just enjoy yourself. For the first time in their lives, they're adults, and they don't have to be somewhere. They're not told to be somewhere.
Like I tell people all the time, we all got to go through something to get something that we want in life. Things may not always go the way you want it to go, but I promise you, if you continue to focus on the positive rather than the negatives, you will be all right. It's tough sometimes. It gets tough every day, but we got to make it. No matter what it is, no matter what you're going through, just think about it for a second. Somebody did not wake up this morning, but you did. I always say this to people often. You are above ground. Why are you above ground? Because there's purpose within you. There's purpose for you. There's opportunity for you.
You feel like you're missing out on all the fun. Me too. Everyone else has more friends. Everyone else does the fun stuff on the weekends. Everyone else gets all the attention. We're missing out on a lot, and it doesn't end there. We're missing out on the endless search for acceptance from an empty source. We're missing out on the constant need to mask the reality of who we are. We're missing out on the acting like everything is okay and shutting down when the crowd is gone. So yeah, we're missing out, but I think that's just fine for now.
My life is like I'm running from a pack of starving wolves. If I slow down at all, I will be eaten alive. Like I have one choice, and it's to keep going as fast as I can, or I'll be torn to pieces. And that's what it felt like, and I love that. Like that sounds so like negative and dark, but like I love that. It was such like a motivation.
No, you see, it's impossible. And plus your name, who can pronounce Schnitzel or something like that? No one can pronounce that, so forget about it, Arnold. This is the kind of thing that I heard. Imagine, you go from studio executive to studio executive, from agent to agent, from manager to manager, and they all said exactly the same thing. Now that's very encouraging, isn't it? But you know something? I didn't give a shit. I didn't. Because I believed that I can be a leading man. I believed that I could be another Clint Eastwood or another Burt Reynolds. I believed that I could be those people. I said, there's enough room on that ladder that I can fit up there. And I looked back again and learned from what I learned in sports. It's all about the hard work that you put in.
You get to redesign. You are your Michelangelo. You are your greatest sculpture. And you get to recarve and you get to up-level as much as you need. You're not sentenced to this life this way. You chose it.
I was not always this strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today. All I wanted to be was an uncommon man. And my whole life, I was not that. Much worse than that. I know what it takes to be a combat soldier, and I used to look for courage. I thought courage was a man who won the Medal of Honor. It is. But courage is a man who's willing to put those boots on every single day of his life to go out there and fight for this country where nobody even knows what the hell they're doing or where the hell they're at.
There is something poetic about a 39-year-old man winning New Artist of the Year. I don't know where you're at in your life or what you're going through, but I want to tell you to keep going, baby. I want to tell you success is on the other side of it. I want to tell you it's going to be okay. I want to tell you that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because what's in front of you is so much more important than what's behind you. Let's party, Nashville!
If you want to be great, oh man, prepare to get up off that mat. You're going to get knocked down over and over and over. And even when you feel like, no, I can't be hit this hard. Or if you're down there thinking, there's no way I can get up from this. That's when you're just starting.
You cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I am. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin.
And you are either going to evolve or expire. You are either dying or you are either living.
Stop depending on other people. Stop waiting for someone to change your life. You have to change your life. Well, I haven't worked this hard to not do what I truly want. Like, I haven't got this far by being someone else. I've got this far by being true to myself.
You've got your own damn malevolence and ignorance, right? All coming at you. Plus the incredible, complicated, indeterminate potential of the future. That's all coming at you, and it's all your responsibility. And you can cringe away from it, and be afraid of it, and be victimized by it, and be bitter and cynical about it. And no wonder, because it can be painful. Or you can turn around and you can say, man, bring it on.
The 10 words that will ruin your life are what will other people say and what will other people think. So whoever you are, wherever you are, do you.
One of the most important potents to anything that you want out of success is discipline. That means no excuses. That means no laying around. That means all of this I can or I cannot do or I won't do or I don't know how to do it. We're going to show you how to figure it out. But it starts with you. Discipline. Discipline yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop saying, I don't like to get up in the morning. At least you got up. Stop saying what you can't do and start doing the right things to get what you need to do right. That means get up and focus on what's going to make you a better individual all across the board.
It's not going to work unless I change. And nothing changes in my life until I change.
How can you ever change yourself? You think that you're a Gandhi, but how can you be a Gandhi if you won't look at yourself and change yourself, right? The only way you can become good or kind of overcome some of these qualities is by looking at it, seeing the reality, and then confronting it, and then trying to change it.
Who the hell are you? You know, you think you're a miracle of some bloody bizarre sort. We've been around for 3.5 billion years. You know, every single one of your relatives propagated successfully. And here you are, against all possible odds, in this world of hell in some sense, and bitterness and tyranny and malevolence. And yet, God only knows what's inside you, this capacity for consciousness, the capacity to confront potential and to turn it into something good.
You know better, but you're not doing better. That's some scary shit. For you to decide, here's limitations, but I'm so used to doing wrong and being dysfunctional. I know better, but I don't want to do better.
Without that work ethic, greatness cannot be achieved. Anytime I hit a big shot, everyone would be so surprised and just like, wow. I would be surprised if I didn't make it. I put the work into this every day, all day. And then when I'm done with it, guess what I do? I dream about it. I visualize it. I see myself being successful. And then I'll do it again.
There's a million excuses I could make to rationalize not getting up early, doing the ice bath, and going for a run. But there comes a time when all these potential excuses turn into fuel that motivates you to keep going. When I wake up in the morning and I look out the window and see that it's pouring rain, I don't question if I'll be out there running. I just get excited at the fact that I'll be out there, and I wonder what it's gonna feel like to face that discomfort and overcome it.
Some people are gonna call you a loser. Some people are gonna make fun of you for failing. Some people are going to count you out. Call you weak. Say you will never amount to anything. What you gonna do? Are you gonna prove them right? Or are you gonna prove them wrong?
See how good we could make things. And maybe that would be the purpose of your damn life, right? So I learned, because I looked at dark things, that I learned that the light was more powerful than the darkness as far as that I was concerned, and that people were capable, each of us, of remarkable things, and that we need to know that that's what we are. We're this consciousness that confronts potential with all its catastrophe. That's what we are.
Success isn't about greatness. It's about consistency. No one's born great. Greatness is something that is earned through consistency. If you show up day after day and work hard, if you give your full effort, if you leave nothing on the table, then greatness and success will come.
What it really comes down to is people just don't want it bad enough. Because I've seen countless examples of people that will say they don't have time, that say they don't know how, but when something becomes important enough for them, they figure it out.
One of the things you have to understand about life is everything changes and everything ends. And that kind of sounds heavy on the front end, but it's a truth. If everything changes and everything ends, number one, it should make you appreciate what you have right now. And then my view is, what's next is always better.
I want to be up, then anybody in the world wants me to be down. And it's all about, well, like I said before, self-belief. My whole success is from belief. Something I can feel, but not actually see.
You need to love pain. And I know, no pain, no this, whatever, all the, correct. Oh my, no, this is real. You need to love pain. However, mentally, physically, love it. You need to love it. If not, stay where you are.
2008 was brutal. 2008, we had the third consecutive failure of the Falcon rocket for SpaceX. Tesla almost went bankrupt. We closed our financing round 6 p.m. Christmas Eve.
Why is no one else doing these things?
What's your pain threshold? Well, if it's real high.
Imagine if you could use pain as a fuel. Imagine if you could use the pain as a passport. Imagine if you could use the pain to push you, to condition you, to prepare you for the stages and the rooms you gotta walk into and the tables you gotta sit at and the stages you have to stand on. What if the pain could make you better? What if the pain could build muscle? What if the pain could cause you to reach higher, to leap further, to run faster? What if the pain could help you? What if all pain isn't hurt, but it's help?
It's like going to work. Like you go to work, you put your suit and tie on. I go into suffering every day. Every day, suffering, being broken, duct taping my feet up, stress fractures, shin splints, being broken. This is my new norm. And your mind says, if we're not broken, this ain't normal. We gotta be broken. So then your mind starts to get tougher and tougher.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
It really hurts, doesn't it? You're in a lot of pain. Your spirit, it feels broken. You feel like you don't have anything left to give. Oh yeah, I know it hurts. You feel so empty. You feel lost. You have so much to spare. But I'm here to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that hurt that you're feeling right now is only temporary, but it's absolutely necessary.
Every success in life, guys, is masked by temporary pain. Everything in life that's worthwhile, every present that's worthwhile to you in life is wrapped in pain.
Give me more. Give me more opposition. Give me more pain. Because that's the stuff that turns us into champions.
The only way you're going to get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for the sucky times in my life. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for me going through my depressed moments. So realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story. So for me, I just understand that it's very important to embrace pain, to go through it, because I believe the foundation of all strength is pain.
See the pain as a stage. See the pain as a plane. See the pain as an opportunity. You gave me an opportunity to reinvent myself. You gave me an opportunity to come out of my grave that you put me in. You left me for dead. I'm coming out alive. I'm coming out kicking. I'm coming out swinging. You left me and thought I wouldn't overcome.
Pick up your damn cross and stumble up the hill. That's your job, right? And the cross is the X, where everyone is located. You're right at the center of reality. You're suffering and dying and being reborn all the time at the center of reality as you transform. And you have to accept that and embrace it.
Embrace loneliness. A lot of individuals are surrounded by losers that are dragging them down because they don't understand how to be alone. And it's usually because they are terrified of themselves. They don't like the thoughts in their head. They don't understand how to be with themselves. They don't understand how to be with their own company. So they surround themselves with people that are toxic for the situation. If I would have just embraced that loneliness even more, I would have seen success even faster.
The next time you want to just give in to that desire for comfort, remember that your future self is going to be the one to suffer the consequences. It's so easy to just put it off and act like it doesn't exist. But that future self that you're passing all these burdens to will one day be yourself of the present. And you'll wish you chose to do otherwise.
I know you think it's painful to work this hard, but let me tell you something, it's painful to fail. I know you think it's painful to have to study this long, but it's also painful to not graduate. And you got to decide today that I want the pain of success more than I want the pain of failure. Come on, did you hear what I just said? You got to decide.
When the excuses all go away and people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating, because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing.
Do you know what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who don't? It's not always talent. It's not always time. And it's not luck. It's resilience, persistence, and the courage to keep showing up, especially when it's easier to quit.
The amount of pleasure that you will eventually experience is directly related to how much pain you experience. A good life is a progressive expansion of the things that bring you pleasure and includes pleasure through motivation and hard work. And understanding this pain-pleasure balance, whereby if you experience pain and you can continue to be in that friction and exert effort, the rewards are that much greater when they arrive.
I gotta look myself in the mirror every single day. I'm either gonna allow the pain to eat me alive, or I'm gonna allow the pain to fuel. Because the pain can either be your prison or your passport. The choice is yours. Use the pain to your advantage. Play the pain like the musician plays the piano. Push through the pain.
Understand that the pain is a necessary tool. Don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a learning experience. I'm not talking about the pain that's going to make you feel like you're dying. I'm talking about the pain that's going to make you feel alive. That you have meaning. That you have purpose. Get out there. Embrace the pain. I started feeling victory just by putting myself in the battle. It wasn't about going to Navy SEAL training. It wasn't about being the 23rd guy in that chair. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges and these goals and these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles.
So you can be much stronger. Suffer to remind yourself that you have to go through something. Get to the next level. You find a way. You must find a way to get back up. This is not the end for you. You will not quit.
Behind that pain is a understanding that I don't have this skill.
Yes.
Or is an understanding of I didn't try hard enough. Or is an understanding of, oh, maybe there's just another option. Because guess what? Sometimes you may have done the best pitch in the world and you just had an executive that didn't like your vibe.
Keep going.
And
keep asking different people.
keep going. Like you know, you've just got to realize that you have to engage that pain in discovery, and that eases it.
Pain is inevitable and it is unavoidable. You cannot live without pain. But how you navigate that pain will determine how you propel into your purpose, how you advance in the marketplace, and everything else you've been called to do. Pain.
Why you're making the decisions that you're making. Historically, the way in which you were raised that might have set you up to make decisions you think you're making for yourself, but are actually in reaction to unconscious kind of triggers that are built into you. I think developing an awareness of that is really important in trying to understand that question. And it can come in the form of talking to a therapist or meditation. There is no one modality for that. But I think simply the commitment to try to understand that, I think, is the process of gaining that understanding to help you make more intentional decisions for yourself. And maybe it starts with an easy prompt like, what did you enjoy doing when you were 8 years old that you don't do anymore? And why don't you do it anymore?
Like, stop saying I'm not good enough. Stop saying my family, we don't do this. Like, stop with the excuses.
So once you set up that goal structure, let's say, and that's really in many ways that's what you should be doing at university. That's exactly what you should be doing, is trying to figure out who it is that you're trying to be, right? And you aim at that, and then you use everything you learn as a means of building that person that you want to be. And I really mean want to be. I don't mean should be, even those things are going to overlap. And it's important to distinguish between those, because that's partly, and this is back down to the micro routine analysis. So if I was saying, well, you're going to try to make yourself more industrious. Okay, number one, specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen. And often people won't specify their goals too, because they don't like to specify conditions for failure. So if you keep yourself all vague and foggy, which is real easy, because that's just a matter of not doing as well, then you don't know when you fail. And people might say, well, I really don't want to know when I fail because that's painful. So I'll keep myself blind about when I fail. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. So I would recommend that you don't let that happen. So that's willful blindness, right? You could have known, but you chose not to.
One of the most important questions I think I would add as well is, how do you feel? We very rarely ask ourselves that, and I think we all have this sort of internal compass which we've been given by life, which is like, how do you feel in this situation? How do you truly feel? Not like, how do you feel in the context of, is your mother happy, or is your father happy, or is society impressed by you? But like, how do you actually feel? You know, and I think that sometimes for me has sat apart from the accomplishment. So I could be achieving something great and know that people are impressed and happy, but really I'm going time internally.
Right.
And I'm tuning into that voice of like, how do I feel? And tuning out of the like, how do people feel about me?
Right.
Has really helped me in those moments where I've got to make a big decision to quit. And I don't think people ask themselves that question enough.
Well, they may ask themselves that question, but the answer is flippant, right? It's like, I'm good. Cool. I feel good. You know, I feel I slept good last night. No, like, how do you really feel? And then continuing to peel back the layers until it gets really uncomfortable. And then, you know, you're in the sweet spot, right? That's where the juice is. We all want to be this idealized version of ourselves, happier, fitter, thinner, richer, whatever it is, overnight. And we overestimate what we can accomplish in a year, or maybe in a couple years, and completely underestimate what we could do in a decade.
That nothing is going to change next year just because you want it to change, all right?
What is it that gets you excited? Like, what is it that you feel is unnourished in your life? Do you have a creative itch? Is there something calling you, or something, again, that you used to do as a kid that you really enjoyed, and for some reason, unbeknownst to you, you don't do it anymore? Maybe it's
music.
Like, yeah, it could be music or stand up, or you play football, right? Like being on a football team, or doing something, you know, just having coffee with your friend or what have you. Finding a way to build that back into your life in a way that isn't going to derail your current life. But I think just breathing on that, like giving space to the things that bring you joy in the most primal sense, like the simplest things that just you remember made you happy, that you've forgotten, and recapturing that and finding a way to respect that, protect it, nourish it, and inject it into your life. And I think the more that you kind of tend to that garden, suddenly, oh, a little opportunity over here pops up, or something is telling me I should move this way. These are very subtle energies that you have to be present for in order to notice them when they appear. But I think those are the subtle energies. Those are the waves you want to be surfing. And you can do that while you're working at the bank. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. And over time, maybe you start moving a little over this way. 5 years later, your life is unrecognizable.
Your classes are overwhelming this semester. And your professor that likes to wear the polyester is an over-the-top tester. Test after test after test. And as of right now, your grades are a mess. which is the exact reason for all of your struggle, strife, and stress. Well, if you're in ears reaching my voice, you're about to be blessed. Because I know someone who went through and overcame the exact same issue, but didn't need a tissue because this person made the choice to human up. And that's exactly what you are about to do. This is the moment the old you meets the new you.
Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living, despite the fact that it's going to be, anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. Obviously, the goal is to have a vision for your life such that all things considered, that justifies your effort. Okay, so then what do? Well, then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. Google Calendar. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. It's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, and then I just go play video games, because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, practically speaking, what would it look like? Well, then you schedule that. And obviously there's a bit of responsibility that's going to go along with that, because if you have any sense, one of the things that you're going to insist upon is that at the end of the day, you're not in worse shape than you were than at the beginning of the day, right? Because that's a stupid day. If you have a bunch of those in a row, you just dig yourself a hole and then you bury yourself in it. It's like, sorry, that's just not a good strategy. It's a bad strategy. So maybe 20% of your day has to be responsibility and obligation, or maybe it's more than that, depending on how far behind you are. But even that, you can ask yourself, okay, well, I've got these responsibilities. I have to schedule the damn things in. What's the right ratio of responsibility to reward? And you can ask yourself that, just like you'd negotiate with someone who is working for you. It's like, okay, you got to work tomorrow. Okay, so I want you to work tomorrow. And you might say, okay, well, what are you going to do for me that makes it likely that I'll work for you? Well, you could ask yourself that, So maybe you do an hour of responsibility and then you play a video game for 15 minutes. I don't know, whatever turns your crank, man. But, you have to negotiate with yourself and not tyrannize yourself.
See, if you're struggling in your classes and you don't have a written down plan for the least amount of time you will spend studying and preparing for each class, you stop this video right now. Go get you a pencil and a planner and map a study course for your success out right now. You can come back to this exact point when you're finished, because once you write it down, it becomes real. And that's just the beginning.
And I used to think like, yo, for real, why can't I catch a break? Why can't I be what I want to be, have what I do what I want, right? And I ain't telling y'all don't speak it into existence. I ain't saying don't write it down, on an interest board, on a dream board. I ain't saying don't put it down. I ain't saying don't talk to your friends about it, verbalize it. But I'm telling you, you can't talk yourself out of something you behave yourself into. And so for me, what I had to realize was, if you want to make a certain kind of money, if you want to live a certain kind of way, like if you want to achieve a certain amount of things, you got to change your behavior, Like you can talk, you can get pumped up, you can get motivated, but you gotta change the stuff that you're doing. And there was some stuff that I was doing, I wasn't placing myself in a position to be successful. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Congratulations, like you created a life for yourself. Like on some level, even if you want to leave that career path or you're unfulfilled in that, you still are somebody who is deserving of acknowledgement for building something.
Like you're negotiating with someone that you care for, that you would like to be productive and have a good life. And that's how you make the schedule. It's like, and then you look at the day and you think, well, if I had that day, that'd be good. Great. And you're useless and horrible, so you'll probably only hit it with about 70% accuracy, but that beats the hell out of 0. Right? And if you hit it even with 50% accuracy, another rule is, well, aim for 51% the next week, or 50.5% for God's sake, or because you're going to hit that position where things start to loop back positively and spiral you upward. And so So that's one way that you can work on your conscientiousness, is to plan a life you'd like to have.
There is absolutely no reason why you can't succeed. All you gotta do is water the seeds of success that are planted in your heart. Sometimes you may have to change the fertilizer to get a new spark, meaning make the necessary adjustments and give yourself a brand new start. You got this.
We're not wired to think in decades. It seems too intangible. But if all you do is make tiny little changes to build in habits into your life that bring you joy or fulfillment or happiness or purpose in incremental micro allotments that don't disrupt the rest of your life, you do that for 10 years straight, your life is going to be different. And I can promise you that.
Life. How beautiful it is. How amazing it is to be able to rise up in the morning and have that sun shine on your face rather than on your grave.
Ever tried, ever failed. No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better.
Get bored of our childhood, rush to grow up, and long to be children again. That we lose our health to make money, and then lose our money to restore our health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, we forget the present, such that we live in neither the present nor the future.
You're already in pain. Get a reward for it. Like, you're already in pain. So at the end of the day, everything is already messed up. So why would you go through all that pain and not get something for it?
People tend to think that they're happy because they achieve goals, and that's not true. What's true, because as soon as you achieve a goal, then you have a problem, which is what's the next goal. And that's actually a big problem. You encounter that as soon as you graduate from university, for example.
If you are a toddler, you have diaper problems. If you become an adolescent, you have hormonal problems. If you become middle-age is a crisis. If you become old, it's horrible. Tell me which part of your life is good. Don't make everything into a problem. These are different stages of life. You can either ride that and enjoy it or be crushed by the same thing. This is the process of life. Physical life is a natural cycle. So when something is rolling, you can either ride it and enjoy it, or you can be crushed by it.
It's not about what happens to us, because things are gonna happen. How are you gonna separate yourself from everybody else? And I always thought, anytime it got really incredibly hard, I would think about all the people quitting right now and how they're gonna feel in a few years, hopefully if we're alive, that they're just gonna say, man, what if I hadn't have given up? What if I would have kept going? Don't say what if. Please, 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 please don't have the what ifs down the road. You keep going now, and I'm telling you, you'll be in a better place than you would be if you quit.
Here's the game. Imagine you were taking care of yourself like someone you cared for. So imagine someone you care for and pretend that's you. Maybe it's a son or a daughter or a friend. Now imagine 5 years down the road. You can have what you want and need. You can be who you are, but you have to figure out what it is. What is it? What do you want? What do you need?
It is beautiful because whatever you have that you may be facing, what you may be dealing with, life is still good. Life has so many moving parts, but life is always good. Every day is a new day and another opportunity that others may not have.
I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Insane belief. I think it's ultimately complete sanity. I believe we're creators And I believe we create with every thought and every word every moment is pregnant with the next moment of your life. We all start out with a false belief about ourselves, with some untrue thing that we believe walking through our lives. I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm gonna fail. Whatever your basic mistaken belief about yourself is, you form a personality around. You know, it's the grain of sand in the oyster. So I form characters that way a lot of times. I'll ask myself, what's the speck of sand?
Man, my grandmother died at 93, and a month later, my other grandmother died at 90. I didn't realize how quick life was. I'm like, yo, my grandmother was 93. I spent 51 years with both of them. They're gone. It's over. I will never be able to talk to my grandmother again. And I'm next. So because life is short, I don't have time to focus on what's not. I've got to focus on what is, then get up and go get it. And for me, it's like, guys, some of you in this room have opportunities that I don't have. Some of you in this room have connections or network I don't have. And I'm killing the game and you're not. So I need you to understand where you are. America's not perfect. I don't know if there's a place on planet Earth that is. So we're not looking for perfect, but we are looking for opportunity, and we have it. So it's like, yo, say it, because I need you to understand what you have, and then I need you to appreciate what you have, and then I need you to go after everything that's got your name on it.
Now, on this journey of life, you're gonna face a significant amount of circumstances, a significant amount of challenges. You're gonna fall into areas that you cannot understand. And maybe it's not in the position for you to understand at that moment. Now, when you start to feel that you are in a position that you don't love your life, then shame on you, because your life is a beautiful thing. There are gonna be so many different things that you will embark on. There are gonna be so many different things that's gonna try to slow you down. There are gonna be so many different challenges that you must face. But instead of running away from the challenge, run towards the challenge. Be able to understand that life has meaning. It has reason. And all of these things that you may be thinking that is so hard on you, just remember, sometimes you're gonna have to go through these changes, these circumstances that puts you in a position to make you feel that you're not worthy anymore. But make no mistake, you are worthy. You were created for something. You wasn't created for nothing. Life has a gift of giving.
I don't even want it to be easy. Everybody would get a PhD if it was easy to get a PhD, then it wouldn't be valuable. You could just open up the door. So I tell people, like, look at the tragedies and say, yo, you thought well enough for me to come at me? Batman, you trained in the dark. Bang said, I was born in the dark. This is what I do. Cut all the lights off if you want to. You're not gonna stop me because you got all the lights. Like, this is where I thrive. And I'm saying, if you're a real human, because we are a little different than some of the other things that were created. We have a will. There's some things that we have. I'm like, activate it. Instead of crying and quitting and giving up. Again, we're going to go through pain. All of us won't get a reward from it. I got a reward for mine. Like, I have worked so hard. When I die, I will physically be dead, but you'll still be knowing about Eric Thomas. The videos will still be out. The books will be out. Whatever businesses we set up, kids will still be going to college. They'll be going to the Super Bowl every year through my foundation. They'll be taking a trip to Dubai. I tell people all the time, they're like, what motivates you now? Because you have what you want. What motivates? I said, I did it, but can I duplicate myself? Can I scale this reality? You know what I'm saying? Can I scale positivity? Can I scale getting through pain? Can I scale taking a bad hand and turn that joke into a royal flush? Can I scale that? So for me, it's not, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. I look at it, game 7, this where This is where the Michael Jordans are made. This is where the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, like this is where the real ballers, this is when the real ballers come out. Okay, you won game 1. Okay, you won game 2. Okay, we won 2. Then you was up 3-1, 3-2, and we came back and beat you. Like, we don't go, we're down 2. We go, this is what I signed up for. This is what all the weights were for. This is the eating right. This is the getting up early, going, this is the trainers. Like, this is why I went to this school. This is why I got this coach. Like this, I long for this and I live for this. And some people, I don't know, are you not cut out for it? I don't know. But for me, when I see trials and tribulations, I go, it's showtime with a real Eric Thomas, with a Game 7 Eric Thomas. Please stand up, activate, Grand Slam. Grand Slam activated in shape of ET. And it pop, boom, it's out of here. So I just look at it as, hey, if you want to complain, go for it. I will rise to the level of the challenge.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. In order for something to change, there needs to be change.
They'd say, well, I'm afraid to make a change. And I'd say, that's okay. That's understandable. How afraid are you of not making a change? Let's make a little vision of that. You're 35, you hate your job. What's the consequence? You're not motivated. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You're starting to get depressed. You're getting bitter. You're getting resentful. You're getting cynical. You're amotivated at work. You're not doing a very good job. And you're starting to shrink. Now play that out for 10 years. You don't change it. You don't fix it. And what happens? You're going to be in the same situation, but 10 years older. And if you can't get out of that situation now, what the hell makes you think you're going to get out of it in 10 years?
You're only seeing what's in front of you. You're not seeing what's above you.
I can't change the beginning, but could I change the middle? Can I edit that story, rewrite that story, and change my entire life?
Everybody's so crippled by decisions, but you never know how the other thing worked out. Let me give you an example. Let's say you don't go to college and you start this business and you were 100% right and it's huge and you're doing so great. Yeah. But because you did that, you had to fly to America for a big meeting and your plane crashed and you died. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or you think you're gonna go to college because it's a good experience and you'll meet people. You can meet people in a business. You're not gonna know. I think people overthink decisions. You'll never know what the alternative would have been. So just pick one and do it.
Change is inevitable. And you are either changing for the worse or changing for the better. You decide. I hope I do not believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Now listen to me, guys. The transition's going to be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Go from being on the block, going to be a high school dropout, to getting a GED, the transition is not easy. So what happens? In order for you to go from one level to the next level, in order for any man to transit, listen to me, in order for any woman to transition, for any man to transition, the thing that they want must be greater than the thing they currently have. Listen to me very closely. I didn't come in here to tell you you're gonna finish school. I came to ask you what's next. I came to ask you what's next. For me, it's the Nobel Prize.
I always think about other people that's going through a tougher life than I am. What if I had to change places? Would I trade places? You know, there's something I would always say to people from time to time. If I could take out a piece of paper and write down my problems, and you could take out a piece of paper and write down your problems, and we exchange those papers. And I'm thinking I got such a tough life. And you may have a tough life. But I pick up your paper, the one you may have written on. And I'm looking like, wow, I thought I had it bad. And then the other person say, hey, you got it a lot better than I do. You know what I would do? I would say, give me my paper back. I'll take my problems back. The point that I'm saying is this. I didn't put myself in such a pity party position to where I felt, why me? Why not me? Why shouldn't I go through this? See, you have to know, and I believe this even more, there can never be anything good unless there's some bad along the way. There has to be a challenge. There has to be a struggle. There has to be some setbacks. You cannot think in your mind that that's all you're good for is the good things. How good are you when you're at your weakest point in your life? Where are you when you're at the down low of your life? Then what do?
You are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationships changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living.
How am I a different person than I was this morning when I woke up? The initial reaction would be, I'm not. It's only been like 12 hours. How could I be different? But if I really think about it, what do I now know that I didn't know before? What experiences have I had that my prior self hadn't had when I had just woken up? And if I actually think about it, just like gratitude, I'm creating the frame of my past. I actually can and do see that I am different than my past self, even 12, 13 hours ago, or the night before. And by appreciating that, I now acknowledge that I've changed, which increases my psychological flexibility. It allows me to see that I'm not the same person, that I am growing, that I am evolving, which is really useful for then thinking of your future self as a different person.
You don't know. Like there's no time machine, there's no future machine. We're all over-analyzing everything. Like, how do you know? You don't. Like, this is why I keep trying to push people. The only thing that I know seems practical is, are you happy? Are you happy today? Feels like it's the right thing. Are you like, this is important. You can't analyze. Like, I didn't know that starting a YouTube show for my wine business was going to be the reason that I was going to have a huge investing career. I couldn't see that.
This 30 seconds is your life passing you by, an opportunity to change. It's your prerogative. You want to go down the path you have right now of your life and where it's going. Or do you see an alternate path that's not flat line, but climbing up an echelon of remembrance, a possibility where dreams exist, legacy exists, the possibility of change. So within the grasp of his hand, in the grasp of 30 seconds, is within you. You had the will. You're here. I know you had the will. You have the intestinal fortitude. You have the want of change.
You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail.
How do you know true strength when you never tasted the news? When you never was down on your luck? When you were at the bottom? I had to ask myself. And I realized, you gotta go through this hell, man. This is it. Because as long as you living, you gotta keep moving.
It all starts with a thought. But changing your thoughts is easy, it's free, can be instant. What's the point of making it complicated? How does that help anyone who says, well, I'm messed up and so hard to change and people can't change? It's like, well, that's not correct. Who taught you that? From the minute you're born, you're changing. Oh, it's long and arduous to recover. No, it isn't. Some people recover like that. Some people don't. But you could be one of the ones that changes your thoughts, changes your feelings, changes your actions after all.
When do you experience the positive emotion that's associated with happiness? The answer is, not when you attain the goal, but when you're pursuing one.
Don't you realize excuses will kill you? It will destroy your well-being. And the more excuses you make, the less effort you're going to do.
There's a million things I've done wrong. It's because I didn't do something that would have sent me somewhere else. But I have no idea. You don't know. You don't.
If you do not apply what you hear and it goes over your head, you will miss your moment.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.